In this video, I'm going to explain to you the 5 gimbal shots that I think you need to know for filmmaking. What's going on? Welcome back to another video, and in this week's episode I'm going to be showing you the 5 gimbal shots I think you need to know for filmmaking. For those that are new here, my name's Gudgeon. I'm a filmmaker, content creator. I've got a video production company based in the UK, and I started off on this YouTube journey this year and it's going pretty good so far. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, and for the regular viewers, thanks for coming back. So let's get straight into the video. Gimbals are such a useful tool for filmmaking, but I do feel that some people can lean on them a little bit too much because they are very easy to use and pretty much all shots look good using a gimbal. However, when you're doing the storytelling process, I feel like you need to use different shots, mix it up a little bit, handheld, gimbal shots, slider shots, keep it as dynamic as possible, where I see a lot of people just leaning heavily on the gimbal shots, which again, it doesn't take much skill to knock a video together just using gimbal shots. So the 5 gimbal techniques that I think you need to know are the panning shot, the jib, tracking, underslung, and parallax. First camera technique, a simple panning technique. You can either go tight in with the lens or you can stay wide. It's usually good for establishing a scene, and it's simple left to right pan. For me personally, I like to plant my feet, get myself based well, and then just slightly shift my weight from one side to the other with a slight movement in the hips, and it keeps the gimbal level, keeps you balanced, and gives a really nice shot, almost like it's been done on a slider. Technique number 2 that I'm going to talk about is the jib shot. So obviously we can go on the vertical axis or the horizontal axis, but if you can combine the two, you get a really cool shot where you're going across and down at the same time. I like to use these again for establishing scenes and to make the shots a little bit more dynamic. So here's an example of one that we did establishing a shot of somebody's back garden or one of our clients that we work with. So technique number 3 that I want to talk about is the tracking shot, a personal favorite of mine. When doing a tracking shot, what you've got to remember is if you walk normally and naturally, you're going to have that bounce on the horizontal axis of you walking. So there's the gimbal walk that you need to adopt, where you bend your knees and you sort of go from toe to heel, whether you're walking backwards or forwards, but that'll keep the camera level on the gimbal and you get a really nice smooth cinematic shot. The first time that I used this technique was actually on a football ground when I was working for a football team, and I tracked the team coming out of the tunnel, which looked amazing. I then had a brainwave and thought, this would be an amazing shot for when the one and only time that I've ever filmed a wedding, I got the same tracking shot as I was coming out of the church following the couple. Quick side note on this one, use a zoom lens and stay as far away from the couple as possible because you don't want to be in their wedding shots. So get back, zoom in, and track backwards. How cool is that? I do rate the DJI Ronin S. A little pro tip as well. The DJI Ronin S, when you get out of the box, it's packaged, but when you actually try to put it back in the box, you've got to dismantle and move all of your settings. So what I do is, for each lens and camera setup that I've got, I take a photo of the settings so that when I get out of the box, I can quickly reference my photos as to where the settings should be for that camera and that lens setup, so that I can balance it quickly and efficiently when I'm on a shoot, rather than fumbling around in front of a client and looking like a bit of a weirdo. It's also a pretty good time to point out that this video is sponsored by Licht, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them at the end of the video. So let's move on to the next technique. So technique number 4 that I'm going to talk about is the underslung shot, where you invert the gimbal and get it as low to the ground as possible. These look really cool when you're sort of tracking somebody's feet as they're walking, or if you've got a pet running around and you want to stay low to the ground. One advantage of an underslung shot is that you physically couldn't get that handheld. You wouldn't be able to get a shot that smooth, that low to the ground whilst attempting to walk at the same time. So this shot can pretty much only be got using a gimbal. So the final shot I want to talk about is the parallax shot. I've used this a few times on various shoots. One of the first times that I used it, I was filming with the 2-time UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Frank Mir. I put the camera on the gimbal with the zoom lens. I zoomed right in on his face and his body, and then I walked around the gym. When you do that, and obviously you can speed ramp it up or down, the background moves really fast while staying focused on the subject. For me, that gives a really cool effect. If you're using it in cinema, it'd almost be like a dramatic scene where if somebody was searching round, panicked in a city, and the city would be moving fast behind them, that's a pretty good example of where it'd be used in cinema. So that sort of wraps up my 5 gimbal shots that I feel you need to know. And if you master them, you're going to get some amazing shots for either your clients or for your YouTube channel, whatever you're going to be using it for. But naturally, if you are going to be making these shots, you're going to have to be using some decent music in the background. And that's why I've partnered again with Licht. Licht provide commercial tracks for YouTubers so that they've got no danger of copyright strikes, any infringement on their channel. They can use chart music, that's right, chart music, on their YouTube videos. There's a link in the description where you can download your first track for free and you get 50% off your second track. Take some shots using your gimbal, piece it together using the backing track that you've downloaded from Lick, and tag me in what you've created. My Instagram's @thejoshgudgeon. Get creating some amazing gimbal shots, shows what you're made of, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Chill, tell each other how we feel, but baby, know I love the thrill when you put it down. I'm alright on my own, but with you I'm in the zone. One shot, don't let it go. You better put it down. Make me say you the one I like. Come put your body on might.